Hello, hello, hello. Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Teacher Kean, and I hope that you are having a very lovely evening, morning, or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I hope that you are having a very productive and very exciting day. I am certainly having a very, very fulfilling one. All right, so now what are we doing today? Today, we are going to talk about a very, very important topic over here. Why are my kids so fierce? And, okay, we'll be talking about some tips to help them be awesome instead. All right, so now, good evening, everyone. Before we get into the discussion, I would like everyone to go and say hi to each other in the comments, whether you are coming in from Facebook, whether you're coming in from LinkedIn, or whether you're coming in from YouTube. Go ahead and make some noise in the comments, everyone. Go ahead and go and say hi to each other. Now, I think that most of the time I am streaming on LinkedIn, but this is the first time I am actually streaming into a Facebook group. So it'd be good to go and say hi to all the new members over here. Like, for example, Lika is saying, hi, hello, hey. Okay, all right. So Facebook user, you will have to go and allow streamer to go and display your name, all right? But hello, hi anyway. Okay, it's great to have you in the conversation tonight. And of course, we have our very dear 𝗏𝗟. Hi, good evening, 𝗏𝗟. And our dear 𝗧𝗶𝗵𝗏𝗏. 𝗧𝗶𝗵𝗏𝗏 is here as well. Thank you. You do me a great honor, dear sir. Okay, very, very nice of you to have you with us here tonight. Hello, hi, Melanie. Okay, it's always great to go and see Melanie on the stream. Now, everyone, please take note. Melanie is on LinkedIn, but she is one of the best therapists I know. So now, if you have any if you are not feeling well, if you need to reach out to someone, definitely Melanie is the person to speak to. All right, so now over here, we have another LinkedIn user who is unable to go and display the name. That's fine, not a problem. All right, hi, Kaylee. Hey, nice to meet you. Alina, welcome. Good evening. Oh, Bentley is here as well. Hi, Bentley. I'm so happy that you could make it. Grace is here as well. Hi, Grace. And okay, all right. Now let's take a look at the other people later. Yeah, otherwise we will never be able to go and finish what we are supposed to go and do today. All right. So now, what topic are we talking about today? We are talking about why are my kids so fierce? And let's talk about some ways to help them be awesome instead. Now, I'll tell you right off the bat that I'm lying over here. I'm not going to give you one tip only. I'm going to give you 3 tips in total. All right, so now listen carefully. And okay, all right, now, before we go straight into the discussion, into the meat of the discussion, now, this is a workshop. What does this mean? A workshop means that it is interactive, it is two-way. So if you have any questions, go ahead and ask me. All right, go ahead and ask me if you have any questions. And go ahead and go and type in the comments. Someone will be there to go and help you navigate it. All right. Okay, awesome. All right. Now, in the meantime, if you would like a complimentary 15 minutes consultation with Teacher Kean, just go ahead and go and comment Parent 15. We will get to you as soon as possible. All right. Okay. Now, let's take a look. Over here, I always start my sessions with a story, right? That's the best way I know how to go and bring us all some context into what we're going on today. But before I start this story, ladies and gentlemen, I want to go and apologize, all right? Because some of you may have already heard this story in the morning, right? I made a post this morning already. So now, it might seem a little cliche to you. All right, now, I would also like to apologize because I know that 9 o'clock, some of you have not yet had your dinner. Thank you very much for attending this lovely session with us. And finally, you know, we are all under lockdown here in Malaysia. Okay, we are streaming from Malaysia. Many of us are still under lockdown. I'm sorry because my hair is very long. Okay, I do look a little bit messy. All right, now let's get into this story. Okay, now, once upon a time, when I was still in investment banking, I used to have a lady boss. We'll call her Madeline, okay? This is not her real name. And I had a senior colleague whose name was Alan. Okay, all right, now you might be wondering why did I go and choose a picture of a slightly bigger guy, okay, who looks to be a chef to represent my colleague who was an investment banker. Well, I tried my best, okay, let's not judge, okay? On Canva, there wasn't any other suitable picture of a slightly bigger guy in a suit. Okay, so let's imagine that Alan is in a corporate suit. All right, so now, the 3 of us were assigned to go and do a very huge job. And this was to go and list a French electronics company on Malaysia Bursa Saham. All right, so now don't ask me why they wanted to come to Malaysia. That was their decision. It was a weird decision. Let's just move on with the story. Okay, so now as part of listing any company in Malaysia, we have to do a due diligence on the company. This meant we needed to travel all the way to France to go and take a look at their factories, to take a look at their assets, to go and make sure that they weren't lying to the public in Malaysia, right? So now here comes the problem, ladies and gentlemen. Here comes the problem. Before we could do our due diligence, before we could fly to France, Alan discovered that one of the proposed directors was heavily in debt. Alan discovered that one of the proposed directors was heavily in debt, and so he raised this in a meeting. He actually raised it in an internal meeting, and guess what? Madeline, not Melanie. Melanie is a good guy. Okay. Now, Madeline, our boss, was very angry at Alan. And she actually said this in the meeting. Alan, are you trying to sabotage my holiday? And from then on, ladies and gentlemen, Madeline and Alan had an icy relationship. Their relationship was no longer good anymore. Madeline was constantly nitpicking on Alan's work. Now, to be fair, guys, okay, Alan is a really, really, really good senior. He really knows his stuff. He's both technical as well as very, very good in handling clients. So now, but Madeline had a bone to pick with him, yeah? All right, so now, finally, okay, Madeline pushed the proposal through, and the three of us flew off to France to be hosted by our clients. And so we did our thing. We went to visit the factories, and our clients brought us around France as well. Very nice, okay? So now, one night, I remember that the clients brought us to a supermarket for us to go and stock up on snacks, to go and eat in our hotel rooms, and for water and all of these things, yeah? Okay, so now, over here, Madeline, which was the female boss, forgot to buy some water. And over here, our good friend Alan, pretend that he's in the corporate suit, being the kind person he is, and since we are in France, we have changed his name to become 𝗓𝗓. Right now, 𝗓𝗓 decided to run back into the supermarket and to go and get a bottle of water for our boss, Madeline. Now, it was quite a long run to the supermarket, and when Alan came running back, because he's a bit bigger sized, yeah, okay, he was sweating and he was huffing and puffing. And Madeline said one of the most savage things I've ever heard anyone say. She said, Alan, when you run, you look like a fat fairy. When you run, you look like a fat fairy. And ladies and gentlemen, over here, I'm even censoring one more very important word. It's not suitable for a live stream. I'm not going to tell you what word it is, but but you can guess what word it is. It is a three-letter word, one syllable. It's not very pleasant. So now, after months of stress and abuse, what do you think happened? So what do you think happened, guys? Yep, that's right. Absolutely. Okay. Alan exploded in front of the clients. So now, ladies and gentlemen, here is my question to you. Why did Teacher Kean tell us this story? What is the moral of this story? More importantly, what does this story have to do with parenting? Come, let's take 2 comments from the audience. Let's take 2. Minrik burst. Hello, hi, Minrik. Good evening, everyone. Okay, so now let's get 2 comments from the audience. Why do you think I told that story? What does it have to do with parenting? All right. In the meantime, everyone make some noise. Say hello to each other. If you're on LinkedIn, go ahead and go and add each other. If you're on Facebook, welcome to the group. All right. Hello, hi, many familiar names here. Okay, now, Facebook user, I'm so sorry. If it cannot display your name, you have to go and click a link in the description. That will allow StreamYard to go and show your name. Hello, hi, Panda. Nice to meet you. Liz. Okay, everyone, please, okay, add Liz. Okay, whether she's on Facebook, please add her as a friend. If you're on LinkedIn, please add her as a connection. She's one of the best panel moderators I know. Hello, hi, Sue-Ann, Rachel. Hello, hi, okay. Hanani. Hey, check Hanani, hi. Okay, hello, hi, Keanu. Keanu is my mentor, so everyone, you can get connected to him as well. Hello, hi, Sean, and hello, hi, Emily. Okay, so now, coming back here. What is the moral of the story? What does this have to do with parenting? Why don't we go and read 1 or 2 comments about this? Why did I tell you such an odd story about colleagues fighting and calling each other derogatory names? Hello, hi May. Great to have you with us. All right, so now over here, okay, the answer is, I'm sorry guys, it was a trick question. It was a trick question. This story had nothing to do with parenting. Well, not directly anyway. Okay, now at the start of every one of my workshops, I always start with a story like this. Sometimes I tell the story of the 2 Buddhist monks. Sometimes I tell the story of the 3 construction workers. Sometimes I tell the story of the fisherman and the businessman. Sometimes I tell the story of blood. And just so happens today, I decided to tell the story of the fat fairy. Okay, now what am I trying to get at here? I want you to remember what I said before I started the story. I said, I'm sorry if you have heard this story before, right? Before I even started the story, I already said I'm sorry. I also say I'm sorry if you have not eaten your dinner, ladies and gentlemen. And I further apologize. For goodness sake, I even apologize because my hair is long. Oh my goodness. All right, so now many of you are laughing now maybe. Okay, but let me tell you, these unnecessary apologies are not a laughing matter. Why? Come, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, as leaders in the workplace and as leaders at home, we are parents, a lot of the time, we dictate the narrative. Now, when Teacher Kean go and say all these stories here, okay? A lot of you who are seasoned speakers in the audience, you would have felt your heart sink. You would have thought, oh my goodness, I do not know why, okay? But Teacher Kean's workshop is starting off on a very negative foot. This is not going well at all. Why? It is because as the facilitator, as the leader of this workshop, I have set a very negative tone. I'm apologizing even though I didn't have to. Now let's take a look at this statement over here. I am sorry if you have heard this story before. What is the message I'm sending to the audience? I'm telling you that, yeah, this is a story which you have read this morning already. You don't have to listen to Teacher Kean closely now. Now, what's the message we're sending people when we say, okay, when we tell our children, and we like to say this to our children a lot, isn't it? We always say that, hey, I know you don't like math, but you still have to do it. We also say things like, okay, I know that physics is hard, but you have to go and do your homework. We also like to go and say that, I know you are tired, but you still have to go to tuition today. So now, what is the message we are sending people when we go and say that I know you dislike math, but you still have to do it? We are sending them a very, very direct message to go and say that, okay, the kid doesn't need to go and give 100%. Why? Because dad already knows that I do not like math. Dad already knows I don't like math. He will understand if I don't go and give it 100%. All right, now let's take a look at this last situation. And always, okay, leaders in the workplace say this. Sorry, you have to work over this weekend. Why? Because Mr. Lim wants his report on Monday. Now, what message are we sending to our team members when we're saying this? The team member will think, boss knows I don't like working over the weekend. Now he owes me something. So now, our words have great power, especially when we are in a position of influence or power. When we are leaders, we really dictate the narrative. And so starting from today, if there's one thing I want you to go and take away from today's workshop, it's this, okay? All right, let's try to go and find better ways to go and talk to the people we are guiding, whether it is our children or our team members in the workplace. So instead of saying, I'm sorry if you heard this story before, what happens if I say, pay close attention? I'm going to ask you questions at the end. It's a huge difference, isn't it? All right, what if we tell our children, instead of, I know you dislike math, why don't we go and tell them, math is challenging now, but you will be very proud of yourself when you are done. Okay, how about instead of apologizing to our team members who have to work over the weekend, why don't we acknowledge them instead? Why don't we appreciate them instead? Why don't we show our appreciation? I really appreciate you working over the weekend for the company. Now, in all of these situations, nothing changed. The kid still doesn't like math. You still have heard the story before, and you still have to work over the weekend. But the messaging is a world of difference. And if there's one thing I hope that all of you can take away today, all right, please, okay? Words have power, and this is a large part of what I teach in my parenting lessons. All right, so now that we have taken a look at some of these examples, I want to emphasize this, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Now, this doesn't mean that you go away from this session, you go and say that, oh, you know what? I went to this parenting workshop and Teacher Kean, the parenting trainer, said that don't ever apologize. Hey, no, that's not what I mean. Okay, all right. It's the opposite. We need to lead by example, ladies and gentlemen, okay? If you are a parent or if you are a workplace leader and you did something wrong, you have to go and show a good example and to apologize so that the people who follow you will be able to go and learn from that good habit. Okay, right? They need to go and learn the good habits from you. Don't go away from this session, go and say, hey, Teacher Kean says never to go and say sorry. No, that's not what I mean. All right, so now that we have gotten that out of the way, okay, sorry for the trick question. I'm not really sorry, okay? Let's take a look at who I am. Now, over here, I'm Teacher Kean and I am a parenting trainer. And my expertise is really in conducting parenting workshops and some workplace leadership skills as well. All right, so now over there, you can see my qualifications, but those are not important. The most important qualification you should definitely know about me is that I am the father to 2 boys and I am divorced. And even though my ex is very, very supportive, but on a day-to-day, I take care of my 2 children. So you could say that I am a single dad. All right. Okay, I think that that trumps any qualification I could possibly have over here. All right. Okay, so now over here, let's take a look at what I teach in my sessions. Generally speaking, I started out this journey as a teacher's trainer and I taught classroom management skills. Now in classroom management, I teach a lot of language and mindset. Then I quickly realized, ladies and gentlemen, that just teaching language and mindset is not enough, because when I taught the teachers and when I taught the parents the perfect language and mindset to use, if they were still unhappy, if they still blamed everyone around them, if they still scolded people and blamed other people and were miserable generally, guess what? That's what the children will learn. That's what the students will learn. It's not your perfect language. It's not your perfect mindset. They learn from our behaviors, right? Children are a reflection of their guardians. And I remember there was this very one of the pioneers in education in our country. Her name is Bonda, and she told me this: Cikgu Kean, okay, ingat Cikgu Kean, all right. Kanak-kanak adalah cerminan ibu bapanya. Now, for those of you who do not understand Malay in the audience, all right, let me just quickly translate that for you. It means that children are essentially a reflection of their parents. And so that's why I started going to teach a lot on self-love as well, because I found out that that was the best way for parents to have fun in their journey, to really go and improve themselves and to develop themselves. And then only they have the extra energy and the extra love to go and give to their children. So now under language and mindset, okay, in Malaysia, I teach mainly these 3 things: establishing discipline, nurturing characters, and improving studies. Okay, all right. So now over here today, we are talking about why are my children so fierce? So this will be under the establishing discipline arm. All right, now before I get into the meat of it, let's take a look at some of the comments, because I can see a lot more comments already. All right, hello. Okay, yes, don't humiliate someone, Ellen, especially in front of others. Okay, thank you very much for the lesson. Okay, hello, hi, Daniel, coming directly from one broadcast to another. Hello, hi, Emily. Hello, hi, Michelle. Facebook user, you will have to go and grant access to StreamYard if you want your name to be shown here. Yeah. Okay, hello, hi, Keanu. Thank you for coming. And yep, hello, hi, Chik Hanani. Okay. Hi everyone. Oh, Michelle is having a shout out to egg tarts, as I can see over here. Okay, all right. So now there's a lot of conversation on egg tarts. So I am not going to go and highlight every comment here, yeah? Now, if you have any question, please do let me know. And now let's get into the meat of the discussion now that I've going to set the tone already. Okay, so now over here, I know that a lot of us are joining us today from this new Facebook group. So go ahead and go and join Teacher Kean Parenting, which is your safe parenting space on Facebook, so that you can go and join us from Facebook next time. All right, so now today, learning outcomes, I will help you understand why some children are defensive and fierce. I will go and show you an alternative approach instead of yelling contests. Okay. And finally, I will go and teach you how to go and apply the skills learned in a case study and a role play as well. Now, I am a big fan of aha moments. I really believe that a good trainer should go and give you a lot of aha moments throughout the seminar or throughout the workshop. But, okay, a great trainer like Keanu, like so many others in this chat, they always give you something to take home. That's something I learned from my peers, yeah, and Ornan as well. Okay, Cikgu Ornan. All right, so now let's start off the evening by doing this Kahoot. All right, so now, ladies and gentlemen, could you please help me go and type in this this address in the comments? All right, so now over here, we have a question. Is it too late if the children age 12 above to train discipline and to make them listening to us? No, it is never too late. It is never too late. And I'll be honest with you, right? Okay, I'll be honest with you. I don't want to sound very optimistic, but I'm being realistic here. It takes a much shorter time to go and adjust your children, to align your children back to the path to happiness than you think, than most people think. All right, don't worry, Rebecca. Hello, hi, welcome. All right, so now everyone, please go to this page, 𝗏𝗃𝗏𝗏, and we are going to do a Kahoot together today. All right, and over here, I'm going to start sharing the screen. Okay, all right, so now, everyone, do go ahead and join this Kahoot. 4251884. 4251884. So now, maybe some members in the audience can help me. Please go and type the www.kahoot.it website, okay? So that people can just go and click the link and just go and enter the game pin directly. Thank you very much, Facebook user. I don't know who you are, but I'm very grateful to you, and thank you very much for coming tonight. All right, hi Raja Sundram, nice to meet you. Thank you so much, Emily. All right, that's very kind of you. So all of those of you on Facebook, you can directly go and click this link, and you will come to this page. Go ahead and go and type this pin number 4251884. All right. Yes, thank you very much. Please grant StreamYard permission to see your name at streamyard.com/Facebook. Really, really appreciate it. All right, so now if you are on LinkedIn, you can go ahead and go and click Emily's comment over here, check Uma's comment over here, kahoot.it. All right, so now let's go and give it another 2 minutes. Hello, hi, Angela. Join us for this Kahoot, please. Wow, okay, we have 20 people in the Kahoot already. Excellent. Very good. Okay, so now, in the meantime, let's give it 1 more minute, all right? If you have any questions, go ahead and ask now, because we will be doing Kahoot soon. All right, so now, if you're on LinkedIn, go ahead and go and click this kahoot.it link and go and put in 4251884. Go and choose a nice username. If you're on Facebook, you can go ahead and click this link over here by Facebook user. Thank you so much. All right, and you can go ahead and type the 4251884. All right, it is 9:23. This is a good time for us to go and start the Kahoot. All right, if you didn't manage to go and join us, don't worry. You can go and join us anytime, or you can go and enjoy from the comfort of your living room. All right, so now let's start off with a poll, and this one is really a warm-up session. Okay, so now are you ready? So now these warm-up sessions are designed for you to get acclimated to Kahoot. Now, basically, are you ready? If you are feeling, yes, full of energy, go ahead and go and click the red button. If you think that, yes, I'm going to win this, go ahead and press the blue button. If you're ultra energetic, go ahead and go and choose yellow, full speed ahead. If you're not quite ready, you do not know what to do, go ahead and go and click green, so we can go and get a taste of how ready the audience is. All right, excellent. So most people are voting for red. Okay, very good. 89% of you. Now let's take a look at this second question. Again, another warm-up question before we get to the meat of the questions. Yeah, have you eaten? Now, if you have already had your dinner, go ahead and choose red color. If you're saying that, no, I haven't eaten, but I want to come and go and watch Teacher Kean's show, I rush through this session, go ahead and choose blue. Now, if you are so full, then go ahead and choose yellow. If you are anything like me, you will always choose green color. I've eaten, but I am still hungry. All right, so now, okay, all right, most of you had your dinner. Thank you so much, Mr. Blue or Mrs. Blue, for rushing to join this session. And not a lot of you are like me. Yeah? Okay, good. Good to know that most of you have already eaten. All right, now, Mr. Blue or Mrs. Blue, don't worry. When the lockdown is over, I will come and go and buy you some food, okay? Let me go and bring you out. All right, so now, next. Now, this is a real poll already. Yeah? Okay, let's do this. Have you ever scolded your own parent? Now, all of us are adults, but we were kids once upon a time, right? Now, have you ever scolded your own parent? So don't worry, go ahead and vote because voting is anonymous, right? We can't see how you vote. We can't see who voted how. So don't worry about it, okay? All right. Okay, one more second. All right, wow. Okay, guess what, guys, okay? 100% of the audience of participants who voted has scolded their own parent at some point or another. Now, that's very good. Well, I'm sorry, that's not very good, okay? Well, that's good for the purposes of this exercise because it will make the next question, it will make the next poll very relevant to us. And how did your parents respond when you scolded them? How did they respond when you scolded them? Did they say, hey, Teacher Kean, you say one more time, then I slap you, okay? Or did they say something similar to, my house, my rules, if you do not like the way I talk to you, you can move out, but you cannot shout at me. All right, did they say something like, hey, calm down lah, bro, okay? All right, you won't call your own children bro lah. Hey, but calm down, son. Okay? Or maybe they said something else and you have to go and answer in the comments. Go ahead and go and vote over here. Okay, so as you can see, it is quite equally split, but most parents will go and say that, hey, you say one more time, I was going to slap you, or they say something similar to my house, my rules. Now, I'm quite surprised that none of our parents actually say, hey, come down to us. All right, I would have thought that would have been quite a popular suggestion. All right, now let's take a look at the next question over here. Okay, so now if they scolded you with red or blue, did it work? When they asked you to calm down, did you calm down? Or when they slapped you, did you calm down? Or, okay, when they say my house, my rules, did you calm down? Or did you guys get into a larger argument? So go ahead and vote yes or no. Does asking someone to calm down actually calm them down? Does threatening to slap someone actually calm them down? All right. So, okay, all right. So now we have 3 people who actually voted yes. I'm really, really interested to have a deeper discussion with you. But as you can see over here, almost 80% of people agree that no, okay, the way their parent tried to calm them down to go and take control of the situation was not very effective. Yeah. All right, so now let's take a look at this, at the 6th question. So then, if we know that it is not effective, why do we use the same words to go and scold our own children when they scold us? Right? When our children are fierce to us, why do we use the same words as our parents? Now, if you do not know how else to answer your children's provocations and you feel like you have to discipline them, go ahead and choose red. Now, if you think that is the correct way to go and handle it because your parents did it to you, so you did it to your children, go ahead and choose blue. If you learn this from Korean dramas, go ahead and choose yellow. Otherwise, you can go and choose green. All right, so now over here, I think that I didn't allow enough time. Okay, lesson well learned. In the future, I'm going to allow more time. But from my experience, okay, most people will either choose red or blue. All right. In fact, most people will go and choose red over here. Now, most parents, they do not know how to go and answer their children. Like, for example, if their children say, why do you care so much about me? Why do you want me to follow your rules? Just let me die. Or, don't worry, I'm going to move out as soon as I'm 18. Why do I have to listen to you? And we always say things like, my house, my rules. Or you say one more time, I slap you. Because we do not know that there are other ways to go and address our children's concerns. That's why we use the same words as our parents. And a lot of the time, this ends up in a vicious cycle. All right? We teach our own children in the same way our parents taught us. All right, so now this is giving you a lot of context as to why your children are so fierce. So now, in your opinion, and I've given you 1 minute over here to answer, how should we help a child who is very, very fierce? How should we help a child who is very fierce? So now, if you think that we should go and help him control his emotions, go ahead and choose red over here. Now, if you think that there's always an underlying issue, we have to dig deeper to find the underlying reasons, go ahead and choose blue. Now, if you think that, yeah, all these are important, but most importantly, okay, we have to go and correct him. Otherwise, he's going to have a hard time in society, right? If he goes around scolding everyone, he's going to have a hard time. So go ahead and choose yellow if you think that is the most important thing to go and help a person, to help your child. If you think that there's something else which I didn't think of, or if you have read some research somewhere, or if you know a very good way which your own parent used with you, go ahead and choose green and tell us in the comments. Okay, now let's go and I'm very interested to go and see what is the voting pattern like. Okay, all right. So now some people, okay, say dig deeper to find the underlying reasons. Some people say, okay, we have to go and help him control his emotions. Some people say that, yeah, you know, all those are important as well. But I think very important that he doesn't go out and go and antagonize other people like this. If he's so fierce to his friends, then he won't have any friends. If he's so fierce to his teacher, he won't have any. The teacher will not treat him nicely, so on and so forth. In the future, his girlfriend will be scared of him. In the future, his boss will be scared of him as well. Like the Madeline and Ellen story I told you earlier. All right, so now, let's see how to go and address it in the later part of this workshop, yeah? But thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for participating. Now we have a very good context of what is going on. And yep, let's get back to the slides. All right, so now, while I'm going back to the slides, I think that we should invest some time to go and see whether or not there are any questions we can go and address in the comments, yeah? Okay, all right. Thank you very much, everyone. Hello, hi, Angela. Great to have you with us as always. Hello, hi. All right. Cannot go in lah. Using phone and putting kids to bed. Don't worry about it, Liz. Okay. You can participate from the sidelines. You can go and give first opinions later. Okay. Yes. So now 𝗧𝗶𝗁𝗃 over here is saying both sides do not want to lose. So the yells get louder and louder, which leads to silent anger for the next few days. And now 𝗧𝗶𝗁𝗃, okay, or 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝗃, all right? Yes, you're very right. And unfortunately for many families, the silence doesn't just last for days. The silence can last for decades, yeah? All right, so now Liz is saying, my parents say, my house, my rules, okay? Melati is saying, retaliate more, absolutely. Bentley is giving his 2 cents by saying that my parents won't slap me, but I'll be whacked a lot the Asian way with a rotan with chicken fur. Okay, all right, now Bentley, the big question here is, was that effective for you? Now let me just go and put it out here, yeah, okay? Now, even though this is not the ambit of today's discussion, but I am really, really not a fan of caning or beating. All right, now research has conclusively shown that caning is not very effective short-term nor long-term, but the only thing caning is good for is training your children to go and hide secrets from the parents. Yes. Okay, children become very, very good at hiding their mistakes and hiding their secrets from parents if we start to go and cane them. So we don't really want that, yeah? Okay, hello, hi, Monica. Great for you to go and join us this evening. All right, so now let's continue on with the slides. All right, so now over here, another thing which I teach a lot is online learning. For example, I go to a lot of schools, and over here, this Thursday, I will be helping me together with Angela 𝗖𝗵𝗶𝗹𝗀, will be speaking to the parents of a lot of international schools to address one of the issues which a lot of parents are facing, and that will be online learning shouldn't be a nightmare. If your kids are constantly alternate tabbing between screens and playing games, or they're absorbed on their phones while they're supposed to be in online school, or they don't even want to go to online school, then this is something you definitely want to attend. And go ahead and go and take down Angela's number at the bottom of the screen right here, or you can go leave me a PM. Okay, so now let's get to the meat of it. Why are my kids so fierce? Why are my kids so fierce? All right, so now over here, let's talk about 3 possible reasons. Yeah, there are many, many reasons, but of course we can't talk about all of them. What I can talk about is some of the more impactful ways we can help our children. Over here, the first thing I would like to talk about is definitely, okay, sometimes kids are very fierce because they are dealing with an underlying emotion. Now, this is one of the cardinal rules of teaching in the classroom, yeah, okay? When a kid is fierce to you, when a kid is defiant to you, don't automatically assume that they are out to go and make your day a bad one. You have to go and understand that the child is also going through his or her own journey. And yes, studies have shown that most children who are defiant, they are going through a tough time. Something else is bothering them. It doesn't matter if they are 15 years old or 16 years old. It doesn't matter if they are 2 years old or 3 years old. There is some underlying current of stress or anxiety which is causing their temper to boil to the surface easily. All right, so now, This is increasingly true because nowadays, many modern children, they feel very anxious, they feel very stressed because our children are getting increasingly instant gratification minded. Now, what do I mean by increasingly instant gratification minded? Okay, now let me go and zoom myself out here so that I can go and talk to you a bit more about this. Now, in the past, okay, and when we were kids, all right, we wanted to watch a movie. What did we have to do when we needed to watch a movie, when we wanted to watch a movie? Come guys, write in the comments. What do we have to do if we wanted to watch a movie? When we were kids, when we were teenagers, we wanted to watch a movie, what do we have to do? All right, many steps and many planning required. Okay, we had to go and remember, take out the newspaper, and we had to go and flip to the page where there's a list of all the cinemas and all the shows for that week. Then we had to go and book the tickets. Then we had to go and arrange for transportation to go to the shopping mall or to go to the cinema. And then we would have to go and tell our parents that, okay, yeah, we had to finish our homework. Thank you, 𝗪𝗁𝗲𝗏. That's right, Miss 𝗪𝗁𝗲𝗏. We had to finish our homework. What's this, 𝗧𝗶𝗁𝗏? Why you have to go to Pasar Malam and buy 𝗧𝗶𝗵𝗏𝗏 one? Oi, what's this? Okay, but yes, that is also a bit of planning here, okay? We had to go and clean up the dinner. We had to go and, yes, correct. We had to go and butter up our parents and to be good for weeks before they will allow us to go watch a movie. Correct, very correct, okay? We had to be good and we had to help with the housework. Nowadays, ladies and gentlemen, when our kids want to go and watch a movie, what do they have to do? What do our kids have to do when they want to watch a movie? They just turn on Netflix. That's it. They just turn on Netflix and they can watch whatever movie they want. Or they can go to another streaming site, Disney Plus, or an illegal one. Is there any planning involved? No, no planning involved. Is there any delayed gratification? Did they have to work for it? No. Nowadays, whatever they want, they get it straight away. And here's the very scary thing which we are observing, yeah, okay, as child educators, as teachers. All right. The horrible thing we are observing is this. When we were kids, okay, guys, remember, okay, at 7 o'clock, did we have a choice what to watch on TV or not? No, we didn't have a choice. We were forced to watch whatever our parents wanted to watch. Correct, right? Okay. If our parents wanted to go and watch this show, okay, no choice. We have to go and watch that show. Nowadays, children are becoming so instant gratification minded that they will just go and watch a show on Netflix for 2 minutes. And if it is not suitable for them, they'll go and swap to another show already. That's how fast information is being transmitted nowadays. Yes, information being transmitted very fast is a huge boon, it's a huge advantage. But at the same time, our children are really losing a lot of skills, aren't they? All right, so now, I want to really talk about this because this is really important and this is a passion point of mine, yeah? But coming back here, now, if you have Netflix, talking about Netflix, right, okay? You might have watched this movie called The Social Dilemma. Now, The Social Dilemma is a very good documentary, which I highly recommend everyone to go and watch. Now, why is it so highly recommended? Because over there, they explore how app developers and how game designers purposely make their apps very addictive. Now, for example, in a recent congressional hearing, Facebook actually admitted that their users feel depressed and their users feel anxious when they're using the platform. Why? Because when you feel anxious, right, you always want to log in to go and see if anyone has liked your stuff. So here's the thought process, here's the design process, here's the instructional design which Facebook goes through. When you log into Facebook, the color scheme, the layout, everything is designed to make you feel depressed. Then you scroll through your feed and you see your friend on a holiday somewhere. Then you go and see that your friend has hundreds of likes for posting a sexy picture. So you're a child, right? How do you feel when you go and see your friend posing sexily, getting hundreds of likes? You feel anxious. And so you also go and post a picture like that. You feel that, hey, she's getting hundreds of likes. Can I do the same? I want to do the same. And so that's what you do as well. And then the Facebook algorithm will go and push a post. Facebook algorithm will push a post. When you log out from Facebook, Facebook will start spamming you with a lot of dings to keep you going back to the app. And so now, as the psychologist in the chat will be able to go and tell you, this is what we call a trigger response cycle. Very, very highly effective. Facebook, games, all right? They purposely go and hire people to go and make the games as addictive and as anxiety-inducing as possible. Why? They want to go and kick in your serotonin. They want to go and kick in your dopamine. All right, so now, if you want the sources to this research, please go and please WhatsApp me or please go and private message me. I'll be very happy to go and share those with you. But yes, okay, children are really, really anxious today because they are dealing with some underlying emotion. And when you talk to them, a lot of the times they're not really ready to talk to you. It might not always be your fault, right? They might be dealing with something else. Now, this is one of the first things I ask parents nowadays when they come and go and ask me, hey, Teacher Kean, why is my kid so fierce? Yes, this is one of the first things I ask them. Does your child happen to have an addiction to screens? And I'm seeing a very strong correlation, I'll be honest with you guys. All right. So now, but that is outside the ambits of this discussion. Let's talk about other reasons why my kids are so fierce. Okay, so now, over here, you have to go and consider, as parents, right? Okay, we also have emotions, especially now. All right. Now we're all working from home. Now we're under a lockdown. Things don't look great, guys. Now, when we are talking to our children, do we let our emotional needs bleed onto them or not? What does this mean? Okay, let's take a look at this typical sentence which our parents and our teachers say to us. Now, let's imagine this, okay? Our child Keanu, okay? Let's pretend that Keanu is our child. So now our child Keanu, he is 13 years old and he comes back from school and he doesn't look at you. Now, 2 minutes later, the phone rings. Who is it? It is Keanu's teacher. Keanu's teacher says, okay, Mr. Pang, I regret to go and tell you, but Keanu has been stealing again. He's stealing again. This is the third time he's stealing. If he steals one more time, we are going to expel him. We are going to expel him. So now, what do? We can feel our anger rising already, right? Okay, because this is not the first time, This is the third time already. This is the third time already. I thought that I told you a million times already, Keanu, right? We can go and feel our anger rising to the surface already. And we are going to yell at him already. We're going to yell at him. Keanu, I thought that I told you a million times. Why are you still doing this? Why are you still stealing? But suddenly we remember, hey, okay, I read on Facebook that we shouldn't go and yell at our children. Instead, we can go and express our disappointment at their behavior. And so that's why a lot of us go and say, well, Keanu, I'm very disappointed in you. Now, what's the effect when we go and say, I'm very disappointed in you to Keanu over here? Let me ask you, okay, ladies and gentlemen, okay, and you all can go and type in the chat. All right. Now, what in school, right? Okay, we have the rule. You cannot steal in school. Okay? Tak boleh curi, tak boleh ambil barang orang lain di sekolah. 在学校的时候不能拿别人的东西. Now, what is the objective of that rule? Is it to go and teach students to respect the belonging of other people? Or is it to go and make the parents and the teachers happy? You see, ladies and gentlemen, when we go and tell our children, I am very disappointed in you, we are sending them a very confusing message. We are telling them that you have to listen to the school rules, you have to listen to my rules, or you have to go and study hard, or you have to go and do well in your exams, or you have to be a good citizen, otherwise Papa will be disappointed in you. But that's not the reason they are doing all those rules, Those rules were put in place for them to learn how to respect other people. They are supposed to go and study hard for their own benefit, not to go and avoid someone being disappointed in them. Do you see what am I saying? That's right, Raja Sundram. Correct. Okay, that's right. And yes, thank you, Melanie. I'll come back. I'll circle around to this. Yeah, okay. Yes, the rule, don't steal from school, is to go and teach them. Respect the things of other people, not to go and make the parent or the teacher happy. So this is one of the things which we say to our children a lot. And yes, correct, absolutely. Melanie is absolutely right. To a child, it means I'm not lovable. Or I need to behave, or I need to study hard to become lovable. I need to study to become lovable. And all right, so now over here, okay, The opposite, okay, is also true, by the way, okay? And over here, I want to go and tell you guys a story. The dangers of I'm so proud of you. All right, now, listen carefully until the end. Don't make any judgment first. Okay, don't make any judgment first. All right, so now, I'm going to tell you guys a story from my days as a teacher. Now, when I was a teacher, when I was teaching English, all right, there was this girl in my class. We will give her a fake name, okay? We'll call her Jane. So now, Jane was extremely shy. She was an extremely shy girl. And I decided to go and bring out the energy by telling her, wow, I'm so proud of you, Jane, whenever she did her work correctly. So, wow, she really improved, you know? Wow, her work improved. And, okay, not only that, her work improved, but her attitude in class improved as well. She started to become more social. And I was really proud of myself. Like, you know, wow, okay, wow, reinforcing her, saying I'm so proud of you really helps. Now, one day, I saw Jane crying in class. She was just crying. And I asked her, hey, what's wrong? Are you all right or not? Do you know what she said to me? She said something which I will never forget to this day, and it really affected my worldview on teaching. She told me, Teacher Kean, I got 100 marks in my spelling today, but you never said I'm so proud of you. Do you guys hear that? She said that, okay, Teacher Kean, I got 100 marks in my spelling today, but you did not say I'm so proud of you. So over here, I have slowly conditioned her to believe, right, that she needed to go and do well in her exams or in her studies to make me happy. But no, as parents and as leaders in the workplace as well, right, especially in the workplace, we owe it to the people which we guide that there is a bigger ideal than just the approval of your boss. We have to let them understand that there is a bigger goal than the approval of their boss. Is the approval of their boss important? Yes, it is. But it should not be the primary reason why they're doing things. Now, is this to say that we can never say, I'm so proud of you to our children? No, of course not. You can say, I'm so proud of you. And it is highly encouraged for you to go and say, I'm so proud of you to your children. But it cannot be linked to an event. So in the quiet times, when you're spending quality time with them, go ahead and go and tell them, I'm so proud of you for no reason at all. Tell them I'm proud of you. Tell them I love you very much. You're doing so well. But not when they come to you with a piece of paper and they go and say, Papa, I did very well for my exam. Are you proud of me? So now, people then ask me, if I cannot say I'm so proud of you when they come to me with the exam paper, what can I say to them? So now, the answer over here is, remind them that they can be proud of themselves. So the next time your child comes to you and says, hey, are you proud of me? I got 100 marks for this exam. Go and tell them, you should be very proud of yourself. You put in the work and it has paid off. Remember, yeah, okay? Now over here, I have one of my friends called Gladys. She's a virtuous facilitator. And she always emphasizes, when you reinforce your children, you have to go and tell them what they did right. So go and say, you put in the work, you worked hard, you can be proud of yourself. And that would be much better. So they learn to love themselves. They learn to take pride in their work. All right? Wow, okay, right. Okay, so now, another story. One of my clients is actually the CFO of one of Abu Dhabi's largest investment authorities, Abu Dhabi Investment Authority. And even though he has climbed to the top of the corporate ladder already, okay, even though he has climbed to the top of the corporate ladder, he still has a huge insecurity problem. And so after having a bit more deeper conversations with him, all right, he went to a therapist, but I'm his parenting coach, right? Okay, we discovered that the reason why he's still so insecure and he has no self-love at all, he's very harsh on himself, is because he's craving for the approval of his dad. He's craving for the approval of his dad. His dad always say, I'm so disappointed in you, and I'm disappointed in you. Here's the problem though, okay guys, here's the problem. His dad has passed away already. So he will never, ever be able to go and get that approval from his dad. So that's the problem. That's the danger when we say, I'm so disappointed in you, and that's the danger when we say, I'm so proud of you. All right? Okay, now, okay, guys, okay, please don't go away from this session saying that I can't say I'm so proud of you to my child. You absolutely should, and you should absolutely can say I'm so proud of you to your children, but it should not be linked to a result, or it should not be linked to a behavior. Tell them in the quiet times. All right, tell them in the quiet times. When for absolutely no reason at all, just look at them, hug them, ruffle their hair, and go and say, "Hey, dude, I'm so proud of you." Okay? Not when they come to it with an exam paper, okay? All right, so now let's take a look at some of the comments over here. Okay, let's see. Yes, let's backtrack to Melanie's comment. This already creates a belief that love is conditional. Absolutely, okay? They feel that, okay, I need to follow the rules so that I get love. All right, so now always make them understand the reason behind a certain behavior. Absolutely, and we'll get to this later in the second part of the workshop. We need to give children more credit. They can actually process and understand what we adults say. Absolutely. Now, studies have conclusively shown that even very, very young children can listen out for insincere or sincere praise. Yeah, okay. So definitely, this is absolutely right. Okay, so now over here, Jane now has an image to upkeep. Yeah, you're right, Grace. Okay, so I've slowly conditioned her to become someone who is yearning for my approval, for my affection. Oh, I'm so sorry, Melanie. Don't worry, you're a straight A student now. Okay, now let's take a look at why Melanie used to cry and cry. My mom used to scold me when I did not get 95 out of 100 out of my English paper. She said, "You speak English at home, you should score better." All right, now Melanie. Okay, here is the controversial thing, right? This one is still better than your mother saying, "I'm so disappointed in you." It's still better. Of course, all right. This gives you a large sense of insecurity and probably not going to do a lot for your feelings of self-worth. But yeah, I would still prefer this over, "I'm so disappointed in you." All right, so now let's take a look at what 𝗏𝗁𝗃 said. Okay, defeats the purpose of achieving it in the first place. Without means no need to do well on anything. Do for yourself, not for the others. Absolutely. I applaud you, my friend. Very wise words as usual. Okay, thank you, Minrek. I hope that you learned something from this. And yes, let's see what did Angela say. "I never compensated my daughter with money or presents for good results. I made it very clear to her from a very early age that success was her own success." Yeah, it's her own achievement, it's for her own benefit, right? Okay, now we can have a stronger discussion on this. We can have a deeper discussion on this, Angela, when we talk about positive and negative reinforcement later. Yeah, positive and negative reinforcement is one of my favorite topics. I think that positive reinforcement is very, very powerful. We can take a look at it later. All right, come, let's move on with the slides over here. Okay, now when we go and say "my house, my rules" type of language, right? Okay, it never worked for us when we were kids. It's not going to work for our children when we use it nowadays, all right? So now we really have to go and try to reduce this type of language. Now, why do we go and say "my house, my rules" anyway? It is because, hey, I get it, we're parents, we're stressed, we are tired, and the last thing we want is really someone to go and scold us just because we care for them, When we're trying to go and teach them something good, or when we're trying to go and correct them, kena marah pula. So yeah, of course, we become very frustrated and we go and say "my house, my rules." But what I'm trying to go and teach over here is that there are better ways for us to go and deal with our own problems. It is not, our children are not the correct place for us to go and bleed our emotions onto. All right. And okay, at the end of the day, this is what my very good friend from one of my very good friends told me. He's a psychiatrist, a very renowned psychiatrist. Always think, okay, it always goes back to what does our child need now, not what we need now. Now, what we need now, you can come to Teacher Kean to go and cry about it. You can go and cry to your spouse about it. You can go and cry to your friends about it. But you should go and come to Teacher Kean to cry about it. Over here, I will go and give you a free 15 minutes. I can listen to you cry. But definitely your children are not the best way for you to go and cry, for you to go and spill out your needs too. Your child, okay, let's take a look at the last slide, is already probably, all right, if they are very fierce, they're probably going through a lot already. And, okay, if you show the example of, okay, I also have feelings, why don't you care about what I feel? I do so much for you. I sacrifice so much for you. This is how you treat me. It's not going to work out well. Both of you are not fulfilling each other's needs anyway. All right? So now find a professional like Melanie, like Angela, like Dr. Lavanya, all right? Like Michelle, like myself. We are better outlets for you to go and voice your dissatisfactions or your disappointments, not your children. They're not equipped. Right? Then they're not educated in the way also. All right, come, let's take a look at one other possible reason. Why are my kids so fierce? Now, think about it properly, guys, okay? Because I know that this is true for a lot of people. Now, let's take a look at what I mentioned earlier about positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement. Now, there's something called applied behavioral analysis. And over here, I'm sure that Angela and I'm sure that Melanie can tell you a lot more about applied behavioral analysis. Essentially, what is ABA? ABA was a tool which was used in the past by autism specialists. They used this tool to go and try to influence the behavior of their patients. So if a patient was autistic, they would go and use ABA to go and try to reward good behaviors and use consequences to go and discourage bad behaviors. All right, so now I'm going to make it a bit clearer, okay? Now, in ABA, we split our tools into 4 quadrants. And at the bottom quadrant, this tool down here, we have what we call punishment or consequences. Now, all right, okay. All right, good night, Rebecca. I'll see you around, yeah? All right, so now in the bottom two quadrants, we have something called punishment or consequences. Us educators, we like to use the word consequences or correction. But I tell you, right, okay, psychologists, right, they really are really in love with the word punishment, man. So, okay, whatever it is, it's all the same. Now, when do we use a punishment or when do we use a consequence? When our child is not acting, or is not behaving positively, he's doing something naughty, or he's doing something which we want to discourage in the future. Maybe he's doing a dangerous action. Maybe he's trying to go and punch someone. Maybe he's holding a scissors and he's going to hurt himself. These are the situations where we explain why is it wrong for him to go and do that, and then we issue a consequence so that he will go and remember not to do it in the future. All right. So now, before I forget, okay. Now, ABA was traditionally used very much in the field of autistic treatment, but I'm very heartened to go and learn that today it is used very much in classrooms. It is used a lot in the workplace as well. All right. So now, when I was undergoing my training as a guru besar, they taught us this, and I thought that was fantastic. So that's why I'm sharing it with you today. All right. Now, on the other hand, okay, when our children or when the people we guide are doing something which is very correct, we want to go and reinforce them so that they will go and think, hey, if I do something good, I will get a good reward. And therefore, I will go and do it again in the future. So now this is where I slightly disagree with Angela. Okay, so Angela said that, okay, if my daughter does well for good results, okay, I generally don't give her money or presents. Okay, but I make it clear that her success is its own reward. Well, I can agree with that, but let me tell you, Angela, okay, when you go and tell your daughter that success is its own reward, you are also giving her reinforcement because you're giving her verbal acknowledgement. So that is also a form of reinforcement. So remember, okay, guys, very important, ABA, okay, I'm not the best person to educate you on it, but yes, I use it a lot to great effect in my own classrooms and in my own home. All right, so now at the bottom quadrant, we have punishment or consequences. When our children do something naughty or do something dangerous, explain why they did it or what's wrong with it, and go and give them a consequence so that they remember not to do it in the future. They will go and think, if I do something naughty, then Papa will give me a consequence. Something bad will happen to me. Okay? All right, now, on the other hand, when our children do something good and we want them to go and repeat it, we have to go and give them a reinforcement. So they will go and think, hey, if I do something good, if I finish my homework early, then my mom will go and give me ice cream. Okay, cool. All right. So I want to go and do my homework again in the future. All right. So that's the theory of it. Highly effective. All right. So now the question is, okay, now who can tell me what is the Malay word for punishment or consequences? Who can tell me what is the Malay word, what is the Bahasa Melayu word for punishment or consequences? Everyone please type in the chat, whether you're on Facebook or whether you're on LinkedIn. Who can tell me what is the kata, okay, what is the Malay word for punishment or consequences? All right, I'll give you guys 1 minute. In the meantime, all right, does anyone have any questions? While we're waiting for the comments, we can go and take a look at some of the existing comments. Absolutely, Melanie, you're absolutely right. Kids are emotional and mental sponges. They absorb and integrate what we say and do to them. You are absolutely correct. Okay, all right. Yes, okay, all the comments are coming in now. Wow, a lot of hukuman. Yes, correct. Hukuman or denda. You're right. Okay, absolutely. So yes, okay. Punishment in Malay is called hukuman. And as I can see, everyone knows it. Almost everyone knows that hukuman is punishment or consequence or correction. Now, let me go and challenge you guys, okay? Who knows the Malay word? Who knows the BM word for reinforcement? Who knows the BM word for reinforcement? If you guys know what is the BM word for reinforcement, I'll give you a prize. You see, this is reinforcement already. Oh, okay. So now I understand. Okay. It is because there's a time lag between my question and what you guys are seeing. All right. So I'll give it a bit more time. Yeah. In the meantime, does anyone have any comments? Yes, correct. Okay. Denda also can. Okay. Denda is a bit different. Denda is fine. Fine. But hukuman. Yes, correct. Akibat is also another one. Very good, Minrik. Okay. Okay. All right. So now, not pujian, but I will say a few words on pujian. Pujian is one of the tools under reinforcement. It's one of the things we can use under reinforcement. No, ganjaran is not. Ganjaran means reward. Okay, Mr. Wong. Okay. Hadiah, no, hadiah is reward. Okay. Now, over here, Raja has the closest one, penegasan. All right. Now, the technical word. Yes, correct. Hakikat is also a consequence. All right. Now, over here, Raja Sundram is the closest, but no, I just saw someone. Okay. Yeah, correct. Okay, pengukuhan. All right, pengukuhan. All right. So now, don't you think that this speaks volumes about the way we are educating our children, ladies and gentlemen? Why is it that everyone knows what is hukuman, but so few of us know what is pengukuhan? Why? Why is it that everyone knows what is why does everyone know what is hukuman, but so few of us know what is pengukuhan? It is because, ladies and gentlemen, okay, we in Asian culture, somehow we have this mentality that if we were to go and praise or reward our children, mereka akan jadi angkuh sombong. In most of the cultures in Asia, Chinese believe that we can never praise our children because they will become very what we call very 骄傲, right? The Malay in Malay culture, which is a very beautiful culture, as I grew to know it more and more, we are also very worried that our children become angkuh sombong. All right. Yes. So in Asian culture, generally speaking, we do not reinforce our children. We are very, very, very worried that they'll become arrogant. Okay. So now, let's talk more about reinforcement and punishment because there's a huge misconception about it. And over here, I want to go and tell you guys that for reinforcement, there is both positive and negative reinforcement. For punishment, there's both positive and negative consequences or punishment. And positive doesn't mean good, yeah, okay? Negative doesn't mean bad. Positive means adding something. Negative means taking something away from the child. Like, for example, okay, if our child is addicted, maybe one of the tools we can use is to go and limit the usage of the phone. So we're taking away phone time. Now, that is what we call a negative consequence or negative punishment. It's not that because it's a bad punishment, it's because we're taking away something from him. Now, all of us know what is positive reinforcement. We always have positive reinforcement for positive reinforcement. But a large part of our toolbox is also negative reinforcement. Now, positive reinforcement means when our child does something good, we give him praise, we give him reward, we give him acknowledgement, we give him rewards, ganjaran. All right. How about negative reinforcement? Negative reinforcement means taking away something when they do something good. So, for example, if our daughter is Michelle, and Michelle beat her brother, let's say, like, oh no, wait, this is good, okay? And Michelle finished her homework on time, finished her task on time. So how do we go and reward Michelle? We reward Michelle by taking away supervision. So we give her more trust. We let her sleep later. We take away her curfew. We take away the micromanagement. All those is called negative reinforcement. And really, we don't use enough positive reinforcement. We do not use enough negative reinforcement with our children. And that's why, imagine, okay, people, imagine, ladies and gentlemen, some people only talk to their children when their children do something wrong. When you talk to your children when they do something wrong, are we giving them reinforcement or not? No. We are only giving them punishment. When we scold our children when they're doing something wrong, we are only giving them a positive punishment or a negative punishment. Then, over time, our children become very fierce. Why? Because they will start to realize the pattern. Wow, my parents, once they open their mouth with me, they are definitely scolding me on. Once my parents open their mouth with me, they are definitely asking me to do something. It's definitely my fault, man. And so they become very fierce. Okay, remember what Melanie said earlier, and remember what Angela said earlier. There's definitely something underlying, right? There's something underlying. And so, as parents, how do we respond when we see our parents? When we see our kids becoming more and more angry every time we talk to them? So what will happen is we start to talk to them less. We start to go and save the conversation for truly important things only. So basically, I'm so scared to talk to my children that I only go and scold them when they're doing something very wrong. Okay? When we are so scared of our children that we will only go and talk to them when they're doing something seriously wrong. But from their point of view, okay, from their point of view, they can see that every time we open our mouth to talk to them, we are criticizing them. All right, so now that's not pleasant. Okay, all right, so now we are at the halfway mark. Okay, let me go and get some water. In the meantime, all right, let's take a little break here, and I would like to go and tell you about all the things we have talked about today. All right, it's actually just one very small part of parenting. It is a very important part. Why are my children so fierce? But there are a lot of questions which we can answer in a more in-depth setting. Over here, I would like to go and show you that at the end of this month, I'm going to have a more in-depth workshop. It is only 250 ringgit. So please, okay, if you are having any of these problems, how do I help my child get off screen addiction? How do I handle stress while working from home with my children? My child doesn't concentrate in online class. This is one which I'm going to address with Angela this Thursday. So come to that as well. Now, another very popular one, what to do when my spouse is not cooperative, or maybe he or she is blaming me for the way our children is brought up. And another one, which is a very popular topic, okay, why my child can't stop lying and stealing. If you are facing any of these difficulties, please go ahead and go and join us at the end of this month on the 31st of July, Saturday, all right, 250 ringgit only. It is definitely going to help you a lot. All right, over here you can find the link. So just go ahead. All right. Now let me go and drink some water. In the meantime, why don't we open up the floor to some comments here, to some questions. All right, now if you would like a free consultation with me, right, for 15 minutes, go ahead and go and type parent 15. My team will definitely get in touch with you. In the meantime, if you feel that this is very useful to you and you're learning a lot from today's session, all right, you have a lot of aha moments, and go ahead and go and sign up for this in-depth full-day parenting workshop. Okay, any questions so far or not? All right, otherwise we can take a look at some comments. Okay, Asian Tiger, parenting can backfire sometimes. I just don't agree with the time of teaching if it involves my children someday. Something has to change, and not all previous teachings from older generations are useful. In fact, they can be counterproductive. Yes, Wen-J. Okay, so now, recently I was invited to be the member of a panel. Okay, I was invited to be the member of a panel which dealt with screen addiction. And I learned from one of my fellow panelists that Malaysians are actually the fiercest country in Southeast Asia. We cane our children and we beat our children. We are the fiercest country. Not in Southeast Asia. We are the fiercest country in the world in terms of beating and caning our children. In the world, you know, Malaysia is number one, you know. Okay, guess what? Okay, that was a UNICEF study, as I recall. It was a UNICEF study. Guess what? Not only are we number one in beating and caning our children are also number one in hiding mistakes and hiding secrets from their parents. So what does this mean? This means that when we beat our children, do they actually improve or not? No, they don't. All right? Do they go through this process of, hey, you know, I did something wrong, and now Mama has beaten me. So if I want to avoid the beating in the future, I will stop doing that something wrong. They don't go through that process, you know. Beating is so scary, right? And so traumatic, right? That they think that, oh my goodness, I don't want this to ever happen again. No matter what happens, no matter how I feel, I cannot go to my parents because they'll just beat me. So that's why they learn to hide secrets from us. That's why they learn to go and hide mistakes from us. When they have problems, they don't talk to us because they're very, 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 very afraid of the cane. Okay, they do not go through this process of, hey, you know, if I do something wrong, I'll get a beating, so I won't do something wrong anymore. No, they won't. Right now, why is this? I think I can talk a bit more about this. Yeah, okay. It is mostly because when we argue with people, or think about it. Yeah, okay. So let's say I'm having an argument with my friend Bentley. Both of us are really, really angry, and both of us are really passionate, and we're a bit scared of each other also because we're saying things we don't really mean. Okay, so now Bentley is scared and angry, and I'm scared and angry. Now, have you ever been in a situation where you're arguing with someone, right? And then you're so angry, but then you suddenly say, hey, you know what, Bentley? What you said makes a lot of sense, you know. You're right. Never one. When we are angry and when we are scared, we are incapable of teaching well. And we're definitely incapable of learning. So now that sets it up very nicely for the next half of this workshop. Yeah, okay. Sets it up very, very nicely. When people are scared, they can't really learn effectively. So now, if you really want to go and teach someone something, make sure you deal with the underlying issues first before to go and set a very solid bedrock for your education. Okay? Jika dia takut, dia memang tidak boleh belajar. Memang begitu. Alright? Jika dia marah, dia memang tidak boleh belajar. So when you're beating your kid, most of the time they're scared. Most of the time they're angry. Yeah, they are not going to learn very well lah. Okay? And you're not going to teach very well also because beating, as we all know, okay, the more we beat someone, the more angrier we become. All right? Okay, so now let's take a look at some of these comments. Then let's go. Okay? And we actually know how it feels when we do not get positive reinforcement, as we often complain. Yeah, correct. Absolutely. Okay, now this is a very important thing. Okay, let's talk a bit about workplace leadership because that's another passion of mine. And this is a good lesson also. Okay, now when we outperform in the workplace, okay, when we work really well in the workplace, like our friend Michelle, okay, Michelle Tan is a performer in the workplace. How do we reward performance in the workplace? Yeah. How do we reward performance in the workplace? Do we give them reinforcement? No, we don't. We reward them by giving them more work. Correct or not, Bentley? Yes. All of you are laughing now. Yes. Okay, we reward our best performers by giving them more work. Now, let me ask you guys, is that reinforcement or is that punishment? So now, smart people, right? Okay, they'll go through that pattern. They'll go and think, hey, you know, if I perform well, I will be punished, you know. So I don't want to perform already. It's like that word. That is what we call positive punishment, when we should be giving them positive or negative reinforcement instead. All right. Okay, Grace, great to hear that you learned something about it. Okay. And yep, Alex, yeah, I'm glad to know that it was humorous for you. I'm very heartened when people find my lessons a bit more humorous. Yeah. I do believe that parenting should be a happy process. Okay, all right. So now, yes, correct. Of course, every generation trains their children differently. Parents are changing and children are changing. The way we absorb information is changing. Nowadays, parents are losing their sphere of influence. Nowadays, YouTubers are getting influence. People like me who write on LinkedIn and Facebook are getting influence. And obviously, parenting has to evolve a bit to go and suit that, yeah? Yes, correct. Yes, we are number one in beating. We are also number one in secrets. Yes, correct. Okay, strict parents produce the best liars. This is correct. Yes. Okay. Yep. Oh, I'm glad to hear that you got a bit of positive reinforcement over here. Yeah, seriously, guys. Okay, now I know that many of you are parents, but I also know that many of you are leaders in the workplace. Do not reward your star employees by giving them more work. Okay, they'll just learn to be lazy. They'll just learn to hide their talents. All right. That's what we call positive punishment. Okay. All right. So now come. Let's continue. Let's get to the okay. So now over here, I'm addressing online learning. If your kids are always looking at other screens or they're addicted to a device, they should be going to school, but they don't want to go to school. They lost all sense of direction. This Thursday, I am having a very good talk with my colleague and very good friend, 𝗙𝗲𝗲𝗲, a very highly qualified habits coach. And together we work to go and help children overcome their addictions. Yeah. Okay, very good. Okay, so now to wrap up, okay, why are my kids so fierce? There are many reasons, but over here we are exploring 3 of them. There's normally an underlying emotion. Okay, sometimes we are letting our needs bleed onto them when they are not the correct person to go and bleed our needs to. And really, guys, okay, when we talk to them, are we reinforcing them? Are we helping them develop goals? Are we spending time with them? Or is it most of the time we are punishing them? Yeah. Okay. I know that we easily fall into that trap. Yeah. Because we're so scared of our children becoming so fierce and defensive that we only save the very important things to go and adjust them on. All right. So now, how do I help my child? Okay. Now, earlier on in the Kahoot, in the poll, I asked these 3 questions. Should we help him control his emotions? Should we have deep conversations to understand the underlying issues? Or should we issue a correction so that he minimizes this occurrence in the future? And most of us voted for helping control his emotions and have deep conversations to understand the underlying issues. But I can do better. Okay, let's do all 3. Let's do all 3. Okay, now the difference over here is that we need to have a timing gap. We cannot do all 3 at the same time. Yeah, okay, it's impossible. And let's talk about it. Okay, right, let's talk about it. So this is your take home today. Yeah? Okay, not just understand the issues, but Teacher Kean is giving you some practical tips so that you can go home and go and do something about it. All right, so now case study, role playing. You are having an argument with your husband and he says, "Oi, calm down lah, why so drama?" Does it work or not? when your husband tells you, "Oi, calm down now, why you so drama?" Does it work or not? No lah, it doesn't work lah, okay? So now, I sincerely believe that when we want our children to calm down, or when we want our spouse to calm down, or when we want our co-workers to calm down, we can do much better than just to leave them alone or to keep quiet. All right, now a lot of people, they go and say that when the other person is having a tantrum, when the other person is shouting at me, okay, I keep quiet. I keep quiet. Or when my child is shouting at me, I keep quiet. But it doesn't work for every child. Some people become angrier and angrier if you do not acknowledge their arguments when you know. Yeah, it's true. You think about it, right? I know that many of you in the audience are feeling the same now. Many people, they actually become angrier and angrier if you keep silent. So now, what can we do? All right, I sincerely believe that we have to go and guide them step by step. Tell them exactly what they have to do to go and calm down and co-regulate with them. Now, what does co-regulation mean? Co-regulation means it doesn't mean that I regulate myself as a parent, I keep calm myself, I be happy myself, and then let you go and rant it out. Right? That's not what it means. Okay, co-regulate also doesn't mean, okay, you go and find a way to go and calm yourself down. When you feel better, you go and talk to Papa. No, okay, co-regulate means we help each other regulate our emotions, and in time, the child will learn how to go and regulate his own emotions. But, okay, let me go and tell you guys, okay, when I started this course, I had a disclaimer in front. I said that for young children, guide them step by step and co-regulate with them. But now, increasingly, as I become a parenting trainer more and more, I realize that even adults don't know how to go and regulate their own emotions. Very seriously, adults also don't know how to regulate their own emotions. Lagi pun kanak-kanak. So now, this is why, for whatever age your child is, guide them step by step, co-regulate with them. Over here, I'll give you some words which you can use. You can sit next to me if you want. All right, so now how do we guide them step by step to go and calm down? Take a deep breath. Okay, and can you hear the motorcycle? Can you hear the aircon? Is it hot or cold? So now what I'm doing here is that I am teaching the child how to distract himself. So, okay, all right, Anuyesha, see you around. I hope that you got some value from this session tonight. Okay, so now over here, can you hear the motorcycle? Can you hear the aircon? This is what we call distraction. And many good therapists and many good psychologists, they do recommend distraction as the first step. When you're feeling upset, when you're not feeling well, when you're feeling unwell, when you're feeling unhappy, right? It is often very hard for you to jump to positive thoughts straight away. It's not okay. Let me put it this way. Okay, we had 30 plus years. Okay, some of us are a bit younger, 20 plus. Michelle, okay, all right. Some of us are younger. All right, but we had decades of experience being miserable. We have so much practice being miserable. And so if you go and tell someone who is upset, or if you tell someone who is miserable, or if you tell someone who is depressed, hey, all you need to do is to go and think positive thoughts. You think positive thoughts and you'll be happy already. Very easy, right? It doesn't work like that. Okay, there's a process. And very often the first step in the process is something called distraction. All right, so now over here, invite your child to go and take a deep breath. Can you hear the motorcycle? Can you hear the aircon? Is it hot or cold? For older children, you can go and tell them, yeah, take a deep breath. All right, let's talk about school, or let's talk about your game, Mobile Legends, bang bang. All right, let's talk about your game. Do not need to go and talk about the issues. Help them think of something else. Now, the problem with many parents is that they jump straight into the issue too quickly before the emotions have settled down. Now, what happens if you jump straight into the issues before your child has settled down? What happens is you are straight away knocking them back into the negative emotion. So put it this way, okay? I'm angry. I'm very angry. I shout at my dad. Okay? And my dad is like, it's okay lah, right, Ken? Don't worry. I'm a good dad. So let's co-regulate. Let's calm down together. Okay? Now sit down, Ken. And okay, I'll sit down next to you. Now let's take a deep breath. And then my dad goes and says, okay, why don't you go and tell me why you're upset? Wow, straight away I become angry again. No? Why? Because my dad has knocked me back into the negative mood again. He's making me think of the bad thing again. He's letting me relive the trauma again. Now, eventually, you have to go and talk about the underlying issue, but this is not the correct step. This step is about stabilizing and building rapport, calming everyone down. Don't knock them back into the past. All right? Focus on the present for now. Okay, all right, so that's step one. All right, so now let's say we're having an argument with our child. When we say, oi, come down lah, why so drama? Doesn't work. Okay, it didn't work with our spouse. It didn't work with our parents. Why is it going to work with our children? It doesn't. Right, so now, a lot of people ask me, hey, Teacher Kean, can we ask them what's wrong? Okay, and do we tell them that what they said hurts us? Well, the answer is no, this is not the correct step. Over here, we have to go and teach them how to regulate themselves so that they can be independent of us in the future. Okay, so now in the future, when they're not with us, when they go out and they have arguments with someone else, or when they have a very devastating event in their lives, they know how to go and calm down by distracting themselves and by slowly crawling their way up to happiness again. All right, so this is not the correct time to go and ask them what's wrong. This is not the correct time to go and tell them, hey, you hurt me, please don't do it in the future. No, let's leave it for step number 2. Okay, so now let's have a deep conversation with our children to go and understand what is the underlying issues. All right, so now let's imagine this scenario. Your son scolds you, okay? And yeah, because we are human also, right? So we always go and say, hey, always take care of you and you never care about how I feel. It's always about you. All right, so now over here, no, we have to go and help our child identify the emotion they were having right before the argument. Remember what I said, okay? Now research shows that most children who are defiant, all right, most of the time they already have an underlying emotion. Now our job is as parents is to go and help them explore their underlying emotions. And if we find that something is very serious, maybe it's time to go and seek some professional help. Maybe from people like Melanie, maybe from people like Dr. Lavanya, maybe from people like Angela 𝗙𝗵𝗶. All right. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, okay, guys? When you help your child identify the emotion right before the argument, a lot of times, okay, you will realize that you were the cause of the negative emotion. Okay? All right. Yeah, that's the painful truth. They might be feeling stressed. They might be feeling angry because of you. It might be. So now, when that happens, you have a choice. All right? Are you going to be defensive about it as well? Or are you going to listen with an open heart and see how we can co-regulate and move on together from here? All right? So it's very important. After the child has calmed down, and I really mean after, okay? Not 5 minutes after the child has calmed down, okay? After the child has calmed down, you go do your own thing for half an hour, okay? You're half an hour later or maybe 1 hour later, you come back and go and say, hey, let's talk about what happened just now. How were you feeling right before we argued? Were you feeling angry? Were you feeling stressed? Were you feeling anxious before we argued? What's going on here? And sometimes they'll go and tell you. All right? They'll go and tell you, I'm being bullied in school. I'm being bullied in school. Or they'll go and tell you, I saw something very traumatic online. Okay? I saw some adult content online and I'm very scared. Or you can go and say, or maybe they'll go and tell you, my friend betrayed me. Or my friend has so much more likes than me. Or, you know, the boy I likes my best friend instead. So there are a whole lot of issues here. But you are not going to get to this step if you do not do step 1 correctly. If you do not do step 1 correctly, if you get into a shouting match with them, you're never going to get into step 2. And I am going to emphasize here again, yeah, okay? Step 2, okay, only comes after everyone has calmed down. Go and tell the kid, okay, yeah, I am very, you can be very proud of yourself because it's not easy to go and calm yourself down. All right, I'll come back half an hour later. We can talk about it if you feel like it. So come back half an hour, come back 1 hour later, and help your child identify what emotions they were feeling before the argument. And here's the important thing. Tell them there are better ways to deal with anxiety or the stress. All right. So now over here, what words can we use? And these are the takeaways you want to go and take. Now, we can go and say, well done. You have come down by yourself. That's very challenging even for us adults. Now, do you want a hug? Now, do you want a hug? Okay, so now, were you upset about something before I spoke to you just now? All right, and then maybe they'll share with you. And over here, this is the best chance for them to go and self-correct. Go and tell them, what do you think is the best way for you to go and handle it? So now, let me go and tell you this, okay? And I really, really agree with what Melanie said a few days ago, as I recall, okay? Now, most people, whether it is in the workplace, whether it is your children, or whether it is your students in school, most people already have a vague idea how to solve their problems. Most people already have a vague idea how to solve their problems. Your job as a parent is to go and guide them so that they have the safest and most effective way to solve the problem. Not your way, but their way, which is modified to be safe and effective. Okay? Why? Because they are on a journey. These are lessons they have to learn. If you keep on telling them how to go and solve it, they will have to go and learn the lesson from someone else. Most of the time, that someone else is someone nasty. Okay? All right? It might be a con man on the internet. So imagine this, okay? If your child doesn't know how to solve problems, so they get easily influenced by someone on the internet. And that someone on the internet says, okay, all you need to do is to go and pay me 2,500 ringgit and I'll go and solve your problems. I'll go and take away all your problems for you. So kena lor, all right? Okay, so now teach them how to go and troubleshoot and solve their own problems, all right? And your job is to make sure that they are safe and it is effective. It is actually effective ways to go and solve the problems. All right, so now, over here, this is particularly for addiction, for children with addiction, okay? All right, now, if you find that your child is very fierce and the underlying problem is addiction, then it is a good time for you to go and explain to them that the source of the addiction is from the video games. So you can go and say, yes, a part of why you're feeling anxious is because video games are designed to make you stressed and addicted. They are. They're purposely designed that way. So now, would you like to create a timetable together with me? You'll be very proud of yourself when you are done. You'll be very proud of yourself when you're done. All right, so now these are some of the words we can use. So go ahead and go and take a screenshot if this is helpful to you. All right, so now if this is helpful to you, go ahead and go and type parent 15 in the chat and we'll get back to you. All right, so tell me if this is helpful for you. Go ahead and take a screenshot. All right, okay, so now next, finally, yes, I still believe that you have to issue a consequence. Otherwise, your child will keep on doing it. Now, if you do not issue a consequence, it is very risky. And over here, I want to go and tell you a story, okay? It's a story I told before. And let's take a look at this scenario. Your son scolds you. Instead of issuing a consequence after he has come down, after you have found the underlying issues, you say, there. So now, instead of calming him down, instead of looking for the underlying issues, you hug him and you say, there. And over here, I want to go and tell you a story. Okay. Now, once upon a time, when I was a headmaster, I'm still a headmaster. Okay. All right. There were two children in my tuition center, and one of the children was a bully. He took the hand sanitizer and he sprayed the hand sanitizer in his victim's eyes. he sprayed the hand sanitizer in the victim's eye. So it was very serious, right? We had to go and call in the parents. So now when we called in the parents, the mother of the bully, okay, knelt down and said to the son, okay, hey, you know, it's not correct for us to go and spray sanitizer in other people's eyes. You have to go and say sorry. You have to go and say sorry. All right? But while she was educating him, while she was scolding him very gently, okay, she was also patting his head at the same time. She was also soothing his back at the same time. She was patting his head and soothing his back at the same time. Now, what is patting his head and soothing his back? That is actually what we call positive reinforcement, you know. So the words coming out from her mouth is discouragement. Go and say that, no, we cannot go and harm other people with the hand sanitizer. But her actions is telling him a different story. Her actions is telling him that, okay, it's okay for you to go and bully other people, because when you bully other people, your mama will go and sayang you. Do you guys understand it now? Must be very careful. All right. So now over here, I do not agree with hugging him and saying, there. No, we can co-regulate. We can ask him to sit down next to us. We can go and teach him how to go and calm down. And after he has calmed down, you want to go and hug him, no problem. But yeah, teach him how to go and regulate himself first. Okay, so now remember positive reinforcement? Yeah, that was the story which I wanted to share with you guys. And after everyone has calmed down, and this takes much longer than you think, it's not 5 minutes, give it half an hour, give it 1 hour, you can then issue an appropriate correction after you have talked about the underlying issues, after you have built a rapport. Okay, so now some words which can help you. Thank you for coming down and telling me how you feel. Okay, acknowledge him for coming down. Come wash the dishes with me. All right, that's the issue, that's the consequence, that's the correction. Right, it is incorrect for us to solve problems by shouting. It will chase good people away from our lives. So now, over here, let's analyze these words here, okay? Thank you for coming down and telling me how you feel. So now, over here, this is a form of reinforcement. We are telling him that if you come down, if you tell me how you feel, okay, I will give you verbal acknowledgement, verbal praise. Come wash the dishes for me is the consequence, so that he knows that he did something unhelpful, he did something to hurt you, and this is not good for him in the long term. He will need to learn that it is not correct to go and shout at the parents or for anyone also lah, okay? Now, and then at the end, we definitely have to go and explain to him it is incorrect for us to solve problems by shouting. There are better ways for us to go and deal with our anxiety and our stress. Okay, it will chase good people away from our lives. Or you can go and say the opposite. You can go and say, if we keep shouting at other people, the people we attract into our lives will also shout at us. We will only attract fierce people into our lives. People who don't care for you, people who abuse you. All right, now everyone, please take a screenshot of this. If this has been helpful to you, please let me know in the comments. It is 10:30, just enough time for us to go through some Q&A and to wrap up this session. If this is helpful for you, please let me know. Okay? Unfortunately, we don't have time to go and do this role play. All right, but let's do some Q&A instead, yeah? Okay, and in the meantime, all right, I'm just going to put this up while we look at some of the many comments we received. Okay, now if you have any comments from Facebook, go ahead and let us know. Today we have a huge following on Facebook as well. Okay, all right, now let's take a look. Okay, Angela is saying if you have challenges with your kids, focus during online learning. Okay, all right, so now this is the Thursday one which I mentioned earlier. Thank you very much. Angela, this is the number. Okay, if your children are having difficulties focusing online, they don't want to study online anymore. I did a lot of research on this. I spoke to my fellow teachers who are experts at online teaching, and we have come up with some solutions for you. All right, thank you very much, Wenjay. I'll catch you around, okay? All right, so now, yes, Melanie is absolutely right. There's no shame in seeking help, okay? If you do not know how to go and handle your child's, or if you're wondering if your child has a psychological condition, definitely try to go and seek help, yeah? Okay? Yep. And Keanu and Melanie the other day did a very, very awesome session on how to help yourself and how to go and help other people. Very good, okay? All right, so now let's take a look at what Michelle says. Okay, very often we fail to do the right things because of our amplified positive or negative emotions by distracting ourselves. Ah, correct. We temporarily shift. Now, over here, I can see that Kaylee is saying that is it just avoiding the issue? The answer is yes, temporarily. Yes, The whole idea is not to go and avoid the problem. The idea is to go and stabilize your emotions so that you don't do something rash and you don't fall into the vicious cycle of hating yourself. Now, negative emotions are very special, yeah, okay? They feed themselves by feeding you more negative thoughts. So the idea is to go and distract yourself for a while until you're in a better place, then you can start working on yourself. All right. Yep. Oh, thank you very much, Michelle, for answering Kaylee's question. Thank you. Oh, I think that the comments are a bit jumbled from my stream, yeah? Okay, all right. Now let's take this offline, yeah? Okay, all right. So now, my lovely teacher once told a classmate of mine that children are there for parents to upgrade themselves. Absolutely. This is absolutely true. Okay, now, I believe that parents are going through a tutorial called parenting. And yeah, we learn a lot, man, okay, on how to go and develop ourselves from how we deal with our children. Yes, correct. Okay, if you're triggered with your child section, you have to check in with yourself. Absolutely, for more reasons than one. Okay, most of the time, our children learn behaviors from somewhere. A lot of the time, they learn it from their parents, unfortunately. What happened to you when you were at child's age? Correct. Okay, we learn our parenting methods from our parents, but Teacher Kean is here to go and help you break that pattern, all right? There are better ways. Okay. Yeah, correct. All right, so now, Kaylee, I believe that Michelle has already answered your question for you. I think that there was a lovely, lovely answer. Yes, okay, it is not to avoid the problem. It is to go and temporarily stabilize yourself so you can make better decisions. Okay, no, that's all right. Okay. All right. Yes, correct. Absolutely. I totally agree. And every specialist or every expert will agree with you as well. Every teacher will agree with you as well. Okay, it needs to be addressed in a calmer state. And that's why, okay, don't forget now, okay, we have part 2. We have the part 2. We have to go and encourage the kid to go and have a deeper conversation with us to go and understand the underlying issues. Not just help them distract, then just go and leave them alone. No, that doesn't help. Yeah, okay. That doesn't help. We still have to go and address the underlying issue. Most of the time, it is anxiety and stress. We have to go and teach them more healthy ways to deal with their anxiety and stress. Maybe limit their usage on the phone. Maybe go and help them go and do some more strenuous type of exercises like push-ups or basketball or cooking or, you know, dealing with ministries. Okay, yeah. So, yeah. Okay. All right. So now, in the sanitizer case, how do we ensure the child knows or feels that the victim is in pain? We can't. We can only do what the Inuit people do. All right, the Inuit people put their children through a role-playing exercise. We ask the children to go and pretend. If someone were to go and spray hand sanitizer in your eyes, how do you think you would feel? All right, and a lot of the times that is very effective already, Raja Sundram. So we put our children through a role-playing exercise to help them empathize with their victims. But don't go and sayang them and don't go and pet them until they have fixed the mistake, yeah? Okay? All right, so now I think it is important both parents to agree on how to parent our kids. Yes, this is one of the things I will address in this full-day workshop. Finally, okay, Grace, with regards to consequences, what's the best response if the child is nonchalant and appears to not care? Okay, so now remember the ABA quadrants. Now, Grace, and I want everyone to go and listen very closely, okay? There are many types of consequences you can try. It is just like love languages, right? Many of you are familiar with the love languages, right? Okay, different people have different love languages. Some people love gifts. Some people love verbal praise. Some people love what's it called? Quality time. What else? Physical touch, right? So it's the same with consequences. Some children are not scared of some consequences. That is just a fact of life. I only have 2 more minutes, so I'm just going to wrap it up, Grace, by telling this story. Now, I had this student, his name was Wesley, and he had this weird habit of writing capital letters in the middle of his sentences. So I decided to go and give him a correction, the textbook correction. If you continue to go and write capital letters in the middle of your sentence, I will ask you to write the whole sentence 5 times. So that is a consequence. That is a correction. That is a punishment. So now, every time he wrote another capital wrong in the middle of a sentence, what I would do is I would go and add another 5 times. So the first time he did it, he would need to go and repeat the sentence 5 times. The second time he did it, okay, he needs to go and repeat the sentence 10 times. And over here, Cikgu Onan can agree with me that this is the classic textbook consequence we issue for children who are doing grammar errors or who are doing capital letter errors. So every time add 5 times, 5, 10, 15, and so on and so forth. Now, the name of this story is 260. Can you guess why, Grace? Okay, it is because At one point of time, Grace, okay, this Wesley was repeating the sentence 260 times. He was writing the same sentence 260 times because that was the punishment I gave him. 260 times for one sentence, you know how long did it take him to go and write? It took him 4 hours. Every time he wrote a capital letter wrong, he needs to go and write for 4 hours. The punishment. So now, a lot of people go and ask me, why are some children like this? Why the child is nonchalant and appears not to care about the punishment? Let me tell you who is the one who is nonchalant and who is not caring. It's not Wesley. It's not Wesley who doesn't want to learn. It's Teacher Kean who doesn't want to learn. It's Teacher Kean who doesn't want to learn. I already know at some point, okay, when he's repeating 30, 40, 50 times already, I know that this punishment is not working already. I should have changed another punishment much earlier. I should have changed another correction much earlier. So now, in the end, when it was finally 260, I decided that enough was enough already. I decided to go and change the correction. So instead of asking him to go and copy the same sentence 5 times, 260 times, I took 5 ringgit from him. The 5 ringgit I take from him, I will go and use it to go and buy books. Storybooks for him. Wow, I tell you, right? You know how much money I managed to collect from this child only? I only managed to go and collect 20 ringgit from him. I corrected 20 ringgit from him. From then on, he never made a capital letter mistake ever again. Only 4 times only. So now, different people have different stimulus. We have different love languages. And therefore, we also have different pain points. So now you have to go and choose the correct consequence for the correct child. Obviously, this is extremely hard to do in a classroom setting. Why? Because in the classroom, you're supposed to give the same punishment to everyone because there's something called justice. Justice is fairness, equity, right? But at home, okay, especially if you have a single child, then you should tailor the consequences. You should tailor the consequences to what will best serve him. Now, one of the consequences which I'm a big fan of, and most of my clients use this to great effect, something called a point system. So now, if you come to this 31st July class, I will go and tell you more about the point system. It's essentially a merit-demerit system. If you do something right, I give you more points. You can exchange the points to go and play games and to go and have more time on the phone, for example. If you do something wrong, or if you do something unhelpful, I'll take away points. So that's a very fair system. All right, so now it's 10:42. Thank you everyone for staying until the end of the show. Thank you to all the new group members on Facebook group. Talking about the Facebook group, I would like to invite all my LinkedIn friends to go and please join this Safe Parenting Space Facebook group where we can go and support each other. And don't forget, okay, this 31st of July on Saturday, I have an in-depth workshop where you can go and come and ask me all your burning questions. In the meantime, if you have any questions, you can definitely go and type parent15 and we will follow up with you. Okay, all right. I hope that you all have found this session very useful. All right. And I'll see you guys another time. Good night, everyone. Bye.